Well, good morning. Today is Friday, March 11th, and today is my daughter Christy's birthday. Yay! I thought I'd start off a little bit telling you about my daughter. She is the love of my life. Jim is also the love of my life. All three children are the love of my life. But she's by far my best friend in the world, and I love her so much. And I had two sons before Christy was born, and I had a miscarriage that was also a boy. And so I never thought I'd have a girl. And I was in a card club with three girlfriends, and we all were getting close to 30 years old, which I told you yesterday that was kind of considered old to still be having babies at that time. And we all had boys, and we all wanted a girl. And we just knew that was not going to happen. But everybody, just kind of accepted the fact that we were going to have a girl. And being a Catholic, I didn't use birth control. I used the rhythm method, the Old Faithful, and they all used protection. And my first friend got pregnant, and she was on the pill, so it was a shock that she got pregnant. And then my other girlfriend got pregnant, and she was on the IUD, and she didn't think she could get pregnant, and then she got pregnant also. And then my other friend was using some other form of birth control. I'm not really sure exactly what it was. I know it wasn't rhythm, but maybe she was on the pill also, but she got pregnant. And I used to just make fun of them so much because, like I said, you're 30 years old, you're done having babies. And then, surprise, I was pregnant. And the best thing about the whole story was that we all had girls. The worst part about the story was that the girls didn't get along. So as they were growing up, which we kind of went our separate ways when by the time Christy was 5, because moving and things like that. One moved out of state, one moved up north, another one just got busy with life. But we all had girls, and I know that on their birthdays, it's not my birthday, but I think I received the best gift in the world, and that was the gift of Christy, because she is by far my best friend in the world. We talk every day, probably as much as Denise and I talk. I talk to Christy all the time. She calls me from work. I thank God every day that I have such a beautiful daughter, because my world would end without her. It really would. But anyway, I'm not going to get all sappy so early. I can't start so early in the morning getting all sappy. But every year I call her at 9:43, which is what time she was born, and wish her happy birthday. And my husband and I always try to be the first one to do it, But I think I got the edge because he's working midnights, and he didn't get to bed till like 5 o'clock this morning. So I don't think he's going to be up in time to wish her happy birthday. So I'm going to win this challenge. But and I always just call my children on the day they were born, at the time that they were born, with the exception of my son Jim. He was born at 6:35 at night, and so I call him he was born at 6:35 at night. So I call him in the morning at 6:35, because I tell him that if I was to wait till 6:35 at night, he'd think I forgot his birthday. Dan was born at 10:11. I'll have a story for each of my children about the day they were born on their birthday. But as Christy's day of birth, I was due on the 3rd of March, so she came on the 11th, so it was no surprise when she came 8 days late. But I just didn't have any labor pains with her. I didn't have but one labor pain. And my sister Mary was living with me at the time, and we got up, had a normal morning. We had got Jim and Danny off to school, and I just wasn't that feeling. I was like crampy, and my sister kept saying, "You need to go to the hospital. You need to go to the hospital." And I go, "No, I'll be fine. I'll be fine." And so finally at 9:30, I arrived at the hospital because I got tired of Mary nagging me. So I got there at 9:30, and she was born at 9:43, so it was a quick birth. It really was. And I had one labor pain, and the doctor came in, and I said, "Oh my God, I can't stand the pain." give me something. He says, it's too late, Mrs. Carrico, here she comes. And out she came, and it was the most beautiful sight in the world. It was just so worth it. And she was the only one that Jim was actually at the hospital for the birth of. So, and I loved it because back then you were in the hospital for 5 days. So, I know this is lengthy, but here's one quick little thing about it, is that I forgot what I was going to say. You know what? I'm getting old. I'm 65. Barb hates when I tell her how old I am, but there was a cute story that I was going to tell you about Christy. Oh, I know what it was. That when at that time was time they were starting to have the babies in the room with you, and so they would reel the babies down first thing in the morning, and you were supposed to keep them all day and take care of them. But what I would do is I would feed her and, play with her and hold her and love her and all that. But then when I was ready to take a nap, I'd wheel her back to the nursery because, my insurance was paying for that nursery, so she was going to get some use out of that. And I had the psychologist come and tell me that I needed to bond with my baby. And, I needed to spend time with my baby. And I said, you know what? I have 2 kids at home. I know how to bond. I know how to do this. I need my rest. So that was what was going to happen. But it's just the love of my life, the best gift in the world I could have ever received. I could never give her a gift as good as the gift I got the day she was born. So I love you, Christy. Obviously I can't walk until I call her at 9:43, so I'll let you know how my walk went. Not really sure if you can see this, but it's another sign of God's promise of rebirth. It's the trees getting ready to come back to life. Can't wait. Love walking. Here's another sign. Bird's nest being made. That means the birds aren't far behind. They're getting ready to have their babies. Well, I finished my walk. It took a little longer today. I was kind of sluggish. It was that heavy carb meal that I had yesterday between the mashed potatoes and the dressing and the turkey and all of that. And I didn't sleep well because I ate like a pig and I paid for it last night. I tossed and turned most of the night. Jim wasn't the quietest when he came in this morning, so that woke me up too. But I walked 2.1 miles and it took me 49 minutes. A little bit longer than I wanted, but I did stop a couple times to take pictures. Not that that took a long time, but, and not to sound preachy, but there is so much ugliness in the world. But I love spring because when you walk, you can really see God's beauty in everywhere you go, whether it be the new buds on the trees and the birds just coming back, the squirrels and the bunnies and other people walking. And it's just, if you really look around, you can see God's promise of rebirth. It's all around you, especially in the spring. And I'm just so blessed. Everything in my life, and thankfully I have all you guys keeping me on track. I'm going to hopefully have a good day eating-wise today, but it's early. We'll see. But I promise I'm going to do my best. Time to eat. It's 1:03. I was on the phone with my sister-in-law, so I'm a little bit behind. Try to guess what I'm having for breakfast. You'll never guess. You'll never guess. Ah, you guessed. But I thought I'd make it look happy today. I made my plate of grapefruit and banana and my egg look happy because we're sad that we're not having our cheese and English muffin, but I have to make up for all that stuffing I ate yesterday. Well, there's Alyssa. I don't know where she went. I don't know if she should have known I was picking her up. There she is. She must have went to school, obviously. Well, it's time for a snack. I'm a little hungry. This is what I really want to have. But I'm going to settle for a bag of nuts. Well, it's time for dinner. I have the grandkids tonight. And so Jim took them to McDonald's for dinner, but I stayed home and I'm having a turkey sandwich with a glass of water and a glass of iced tea. And my sister Mary made some turkey soup. So that's my dinner. Well, unfortunately, I am going to have the last little piece of cake that's left. I really shouldn't. I haven't eaten any of it yet. It's just what's left in the dish. But I'm going to eat the rest of it. Well, another day comes to an end. Hopefully I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye for now.